Buckle up, buttercups, because this one is gonna be wild.
Oh no, Nora, you make us sing. Sex and laughter, you always bring. Straight to the point, no messing around. Oh no, Nora, we hear sound.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. OMG. I got to adjust my chair, guys. I got to be able to sit up more because I got something caught on my chair, guys. Ah! Okay, there we go. Solved. I'm getting a new chair soon. This one is driving me bonker-doodles. Okay, guys. This is episode 6, the book of sin, the first book of sin. And then there's 2 more episodes after this, guys. There's not one called the second book of sin. So I was like, this is a little bit of false advertising, but it is television. Guys, this was such an emotional roller coaster, this episode. I cannot even begin to tell you. But I'm going to explain it over this next time that we have here together. Before I dive into this episode, this TikTok came across my feed here. From this account called Morm with those who mormed. This woman, Samantha, she is fucking hilarious. But she's like breaking down the Mormon dictionary, like what these things mean. And I really want to give you this context because these ladies have said several times during the show, like, oh, in Mormonism, you know, the men are in charge and we're really bucking that system, trying to, you know, reclaim our feminine power and all this stuff. But I really want you to, hear these definitions of what they're really making less of in the like, well, you know, my husband just, you know, wants me to submit to him. If that's just normal Mormon stuff. Okay, so let's pull this up here. And here we go. Oh. Sorry. Here we go.
Fast and testimony.
Mormon open mic Sunday.
So fast and testimony is the Mormon open mic Sunday. Okay. Relief Society.
Relief Society.
The room all the women get herded into while the men meet about man things.
Okay. So the women and the men are not allowed to be in the same room while they're doing churchy stuff.
Ironic priesthood.
Commonly misunderstood as ironic priesthood when it really is the special power that 12-year-old boys get.
No.
12-year-old boys, guys, get put in charge of groups of adult women because they get endowed with the aaronic priesthood.
Melchizedek priesthood.
Special Joseph Smith infused top tier level high Jesus special power given to men only.
Ward.
So the men get the extra special sauce, but the women do not. Again, okay. This is the definition of a ward. WARD.
As many local Mormons as you can get into one building.
Stake.
More local Mormons into a slightly bigger building.
General conference.
As many Mormons as possible gathered into one very large room while all the other Mormons stay home and watch.
See, this is like an event, like a Scientology event, right? It's the same thing, right? And then now they're doing it over Zoom too.
Stake patriarch.
Local incompetent wizard.
So that's the stake, like a small group of people that get together. And they have a local incompetent wizard. That's probably the greatest designation I've ever heard.
Patriarchal blessing.
When your parents take you to the local incompetent wizard for a reading, which his wife transcribes and sends you in the mail 3 weeks later.
So you get like your fortune from the local incompetent wizard, or he tells you what should be going on with you or whatever. What your real problem is, because Jesus is, going to talk to him, and only his wife can transcribe it apparently because, she's in communion with him.
Giving a talk.
When you are assigned a topic to rant about publicly in the name of Jesus. Also, an opportunity for each ward member to read aloud a dictionary definition of a word. And tell the story of how they were assigned to give this talk.
Seminary.
When high school students wake up even earlier every day before school and pretend to listen to religious things. Unless you did home study because you were less faithful.
And so were your parents. My stepsister got recruited into the Mormon church in high school. And so she attended this seminary like faithfully for her senior year of high school and then converted to Mormonism. She was not raised a Scientologist like me and my sister. But yeah. We've talked about it a lot. We've talked about it.
So were your parents.
Companion.
Not a gay thing.
Forum of the 70.
The second most important group of white men in the church and also on earth. And it's like around 70. It's not, maybe not exactly 70.
It's like international management of Scientology.
Mother's room.
Broom closet-sized, windowless, curdled milk-smelling room with two beat-up armchairs facing each other where all of the lactating mothers need to go so nobody can see their boobs.
Initiatory.
Formerly, get naked under a poncho and have a stranger touch your skin with oil and water
and chant.
But now you can wear undies during.
And
like guys, that's the initiation ceremony. That's an initiation ceremony. The magic poncho and some dude touching you, your naked body, anointing you with oils to bless you.
endowment.
A secret ritual where you find out that the secret of the universe is handshakes with angels and boring movies.
This is wonderful. I don't know why it got added in movies later because there were no movies when Joseph Smith founded Mormonism, but okay.
Baptisms for the dead.
When church leaders take teenagers to have a wet t-shirt contest in the basement of a very fancy building and dunk them repeatedly into a hot tub on the back of 12 life-sized oxen statues facing out while a man watches to make sure not a single hair was undunked. And then there's
So you go into this pool surrounded by white oxen that are facing away from the pool, and the priest comes and dunks children to baptize the dead. Fun.
there's a lady waiting for you with a towel.
Laying on of hands.
When you sit in a chair and like 2 to 8 or 9 men stand around you in a circle with their hands on your head and pray while you try not to look at their junk, which is 1 foot in front of your face on all sides, 360.
Nourish and strengthen.
When you ask God to make donuts and chocolate milk healthy.
Yeah. This is, okay, Rio for life. Thank you for chiming in on this. You get dunked, in the baptism for the dead, you get dunked 20 to 25 times. And this is supposed to baptize people who were never christened into the Mormon church. Now they are Mormon. You can do this posthumously. Mormons actually have the largest records on earth, guys, largest records on earth of genealogy on the planet. Like, if you want to trace your roots, you can go to their database to find out, because they have it. They have it. That is so frightening. It is so frightening. But like, they will posthumously baptize anyone. It's not even at the request of the family. That is almost waterboarding. And it's similar. It's for a different purpose, right, El Sarmento? Right. Thank you, Mama Opal. You have a list of people you have to baptize. You get to take them to your heaven if your husband is worthy. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the deal, guys. You have to remember that there are all of these rules about worthiness, right? In the Mormon church. And you don't just go to heaven in the Mormon church. You go to your own individual planet, which is yours to rule, which is your own Eden, right? And so you and your husband go together if you guys are like, you know, a good match. But he will still have way more privileges than you in this new heaven, depending on his worthiness. But women's worthiness is determined by how many children they have. So the more kids you have in the Mormon church, the better the heaven is going to be for you. Which is why people are always like, why are all these fucking Mormon people always having 10 million kids? That's why. That's the only way that women have to have some form of worth in the Mormon church. Okay, so this show, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, there are thousands, and I do mean thousands, of creators out there right now who are all talking about this show. A lot of ex-Mormons, some current Mormons, etc. What is interesting to me about these particular women, I mean, okay, they're all influencers on social media. They're all good looking. So like, they fit a certain Hollywood-esque bill, right, to make a show out of, right? There's drama, there's intrigue, there's infighting, there's all these things. Okay, but at the end of the day, you have these 8 women who are literally thinking in their very sweet, very, I don't know what the word is. Like, it's kind of a Pollyanna thing. Minds that like, hey, we're from 2024. We're a different breed of woman. We're going to push the Mormon church forward. We're going to like, you know, this is going to be like in the 70s when we finally said we like black people. It's going to be like that. And ladies we're going to get rights now. Right. And here's the problem with that kind of thing. It isn't that their intentions aren't good and they aren't fighting for themselves, because I do see them, this episode in particular, really a lot of fight for their autonomy as human beings in this episode. But you're in the wrong church, honey. Like that, the doctrine of the church is what is destructive and what is harmful to you, right? It's the same thing in Scientology. It's like there's always been a group of Scientologists inside there that are like, if we just apply this text standardly, if we just do what Ron says, then everything's going to come out peachy keen roses, right? And that's the fallacy that you have to get rid of in your mind, because you are bending yourself into a fucking pretzel trying to make this thing that you think overall is good. You've been raised in it. You believe in portions of it. But ultimately, it's harming you. Ultimately, it's not good for you. Right? It is just impossible for that kind of doctrine that's literally engraved on gold plates, guys. Okay? Like, it's unmovable. It's unchangeable. Okay? It is not something that is going to evolve. Because all of these things, and this is the one downfall of the, you know, core religions on this planet, right? Is that they put down this doctrine, however many years ago they put down this doctrine, these laws, these rules, these edicts, and then times changed, Science happened. Disease isn't as bad. You know, like, for example, the whole thing with Jewish people not being able to eat pork. That was a real health concern at the time. They didn't have a way to clean the stuff and sanitize it like we do now. People got very, very sick, you know? So what's the way to prevent all of your people from getting very, very sick? Don't eat that. We don't eat it. Take it off the menu, right? And some of those rules for hundreds, thousands of years ago, they make sense for that time period, right? But in the year 2024, they don't make sense because we are not in the past, yet religion as a whole, one of its main duties is to not allow anything to change, right? And this is what these women are up against. And yeah, so let's dive into it. I have my my notes up. We're gonna get this going. All right, so is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, everybody, we're starting out here. Everybody except for Tay-Tay and Whitney. Okay, Tay-Tay and Whitney, they don't go to the salon. Okay, all the other girls are headed into Jesse's salon to go get their hair did. As Layla explains, where's my Layla? Where's my sweet Layla? Layla explains, it's just so nice to go to the salon so that I don't have to wash my own hair. Now, I watched the beginning part of this episode with my daughter and you know, a friend of hers. And I wanted them to understand. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, all of these ladies are just there right now to get their hair washed and blow dried. They're not even getting a haircut. And they're like, that's like $50. I'm like, yeah. And they go like 3 times a week to go do it. This is how much money these women are making on the tiki-takis, okay? Because they just go, someone else washes their hair, okay? Like, I wish I had that kind of like, fuck it money. Like, you know what? I just don't feel like showering and washing my hair today. I'm gonna have somebody else wash me. Like, what? So they're all chit-chatting, getting their hair washed, feeling good. And Demi says something like, well, at least you guys aren't blocked. And then everyone's like, girl, what? What are you talking about? And so Jen goes on her phone and she's like, well, Whitney didn't block me, but she unfollowed everybody on Instagram. Okay, now this woman, this petty, teeny tiny woman, okay, is like then going to sit in her stand-up and be like, listen, I'm just providing myself a toxic-free environment. And if they really wanted to know what was going on with me, they would reach out and call me. And they would text me. And they would, like, you know, ask why I unfollowed them. Like, bitch, you unfollowed them for attention. You unfollowed them because you're a horrifically bad narcissistic person who craves attention every minute. Like, come the fuck on. So they're all checking their phones like, oh my God, you know. Okay, so they just did not even, except she didn't unfollow Macy. So now Macy's in this super awkward position, sitting in this salon with her friends. She's the only one that Whitney hasn't unfollowed. Also, Whitney didn't call Macy and be like, oh, hey, girl, I'm like totally unfollowing all of Mom Talk, but not you because we're besties. She didn't even give Macy a heads up. Like, this is going to be awkward AF. No, because she doesn't care. She doesn't care. Okay. So Jessie invites all the girls, you know, to this, what she's calling a paint and drink event. Okay. It's, I'm sorry. I'm going to turn into a little kid here for a little bit. This part of the show, you guys, was one of the most hilarious things that I have ever seen. Okay. So she invites the girls over. Okay. I'm going to pull up the pictures here so you guys can see. Okay. Okay. And she says, the vibe is, I had to take pictures on my television, guys. That's my television. There you go. The vibe is mocktails, alcohol-free cocktails. She had to define what mocktails were in case somebody was like, a mocktail, like, ew. You know, I'm not drinking mock. What the fuck is mock? Follow us on Instagram. So that's the name of the company, the Vibe Mocktails, right? There we go. That's their little name. So Jesse's like, yeah, girls, this event is to say goodbye to something. We don't know what that something is. She's just like, we're saying goodbye to something. We're like, okay, girl. So Jesse's like, oh, hey, ladies, I named all of the cocktails. Okay. The cocktails are called Peach on the Beach, Labialicious, and the Pink Pussy. Does anyone know what we are saying goodbye to? What are we saying goodbye? And my daughter said, is she saying goodbye to being straight? I died. I was like, maybe, but keep watching. Okay, so Jesse gets the girls and they all have like these little easels in front of them and paints. And she draws on the board. Let me see if I took a picture of that. I did not. Okay, so she draws on the board a labia. Okay, and for those of you who are not in the know about what a labia is, that is the technical medical term for your nene. It's the outward facing part of a woman's nene, right? Because a lot of people just say vagina, right? And they think that, that kind of does encompass the whole thing. But the vagina is really the canal, the birth canal, the canal that connects the labia to the uterus. Okay. That's the vagina. But what you guys can Google this. Okay. We all did sex ed at some point in high school. So you know this, but we don't draw it in as much detail. Let's be honest, as the men's junk. You spend like 1 second and there's the lady stuff. Okay. Moving on. But we hear all about the testes and all this stuff and the male urethra and all this shit. And you got to draw, like when I was in high school, we had to draw a peen. Like that was not comfortable to do, and then everybody's showing each other their pictures of the anatomical peen. Oh my goodness. Okay. So no, it's not the hair beachcomber. That is just the bush. That is just the bush. Some people, trim the bush. Some people have a full bush. It's or a 70s merkin situation. It's all up to you. Okay. So they're talking and she says, girls, I am going to have a labiaplasty. Okay. This is the best picture of what the reactions are here, because in this conversation, Jen is asking her like, why are you doing this? What is going on? And she goes, well, when you have babies, it just sort of pushes everything down. And after the 2 kids, my meat curtains were hanging down. And so I just want to get them tucked. It just tucks the meat curtains back in. This was Jen's reaction to meat curtains. Meat curtains. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, labias are like snowflakes. Okay. There's actually an art installation. I have to remember the name of the photographer, but it literally took pictures of hundreds of women's labias, hundreds. And they're all together in this big mural, all these labias, to show that they are all different. They are all like, we have all been conned. Let's be honest. Everybody's seen some form of the porn. Okay. And in that we see altered labias that have been sewn to look very small. We see hairless predominantly that then look like childlike and things like that. But they all kind of like have this same little boop look. That is not facts. That is not facts, right? Because it's just not, they don't all look the same. They don't all look the same, right? And that's what makes them beautiful is that it's like a whole, cornucopia of opportunities that you have, to be beautiful in a totally different way. And it's totally fine. But I think we have less awareness of that than like what, the male anatomy looks like, because it's so much more predominantly in other places, right? So, oh my God. And then of course we have to have, the mandatory flirting between Demi and Layla, who joke way too much about super gay shit. Okay. Demi's like, oh, I forget what my labia looks like. And then Layla's like, do you want me to whip mine out? So you can see that it's pink. And then she like folds her leg up. I mean, she's wearing pants and they're all like, like just queer baiting with the lesbians here into watching this. Yeah. So we had to hear meat curtains about 4 times. Jesse made a joke about making a sandwich out of the extra meat. I don't know why she would do that. And then Jen, this is a very playful part. Jen asks the other ladies if they have a name for their husband's schlong. And they're like, what? No, do you? And she's like, yeah, I call it poncho. And then she was like hysterical. She was hysterical. Okay. And then like the whitest, and all of them were like, the whitest man on earth's schlong's name is Poncho. Poncho. What is going on? Now, first of all, she's half Guatemalan. So for her to pick a Spanish name for her husband's schlong is not unexpected. But yeah, Poncho. I don't know, girl. You may be giving it more credit than it's worth. So if anybody who speaks Spanish out there knows any other definition of poncho that could mean like something else, please tell me. Okay, so then we get the reveal of all of the painted vulvas. This is Jen's. She called it Mother Vulva. Mother Vulva. Did I get a better picture of it? Okay. And then Layla's was called Slip and Slide. Oil on Canvas. They did like these artist names. Right. They're all there. Okay, this is a better one. Mother Vulva. Strawgina from Michaela. That's what she named her. Strawgina. There we go. Lil Pookie from Demi. Lil Pookie. Love your yoni. Love your yoni. And then somehow Tay-Tay and Jesse called theirs both Candy. And it was a very funny moment. It was a very funny moment for everybody when they called everybody, each other. They both had that same name for their yoni. Okay. So Jesse tells the girls, that's what's happening. She's going to get this labiaplasty. She explains to them what she's doing. Okay. So the next thing that happens is Tay-Tay goes to her mom's house. Okay. She shows up. Now, in this episode, where's my Tay-Tay? Tay-Tay goes to her mommy's house. Okay. And to talk. Dakota was supposed to show up with Tay-Tay to like have like a family talk, because Taylor is literally 18 days away from giving birth. Okay. But Tay-Tay shows up alone because she and Dakota are fighting again. Like bad. And so Leanne's like, well, what the fuck? He needs to be here. Why didn't he come? Tay-Tay's like, because we're fighting. And so she tries to call him on the phone. Dakota doesn't pick up for Taylor. Right? So then she says, Leanne tells her, text him and tell him you're going into labor. And then Tate's like, well, you're going to have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. So Taylor texts Dakota that she's going into labor. So he calls immediately. And Leanne picks up the phone. It's like, hi, Dakota. And he's like, is this a joke? Is this a joke? Like, why would you guys say that? And then she's like, why aren't you here? You know, like, we need to talk. I wanted to talk to you guys together. Well, Taylor said I couldn't come, so I didn't come. It's all Tay-Tay's fault. And she's like, well, you need to, like, man up, homie. You're about to have this baby. Well, I'm trying. I want this. You know, and just makes Taylor feel like shit in front of her mom. And even her mom was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. And then basically he says on the phone to her mother, Taylor needs to commit to me or I'm done. Okay. When he says commit, he means submit and accept her proposal, his proposal to her to get married. There is no in between. They can't just raise this baby together and be happy. And because she is saying, and she has said for the last 2 episodes, she is not ready for another marriage. And she still has trust issues with Dakota. But he's like, listen, bitch, you got to get over those trust issues and submit to me right now or I'm done. Like, what? Okay. So now these girls go over to Jesse's house because she's recovering from her surgery. Okay. So they walk in. Okay. Jesse's in bed. She's looking kind of okay. All right. Now, she got a labiaplasty, guys. And in her stand-up earlier, she had explained that she'd already had 3 boob jobs. 3 boob jobs. 3 times the tatas got done. 3. And so now it was time to get her cookie done. Okay, so the first thing I noticed is when they pull the shot on Jessie, she has bandages on her boobies and lines on her chest. So they come in and she's like, oh, I did a twofer. I got my boobs done again. So that's the 4th time now while they did her nay-nay. I'm like, is this a BOGO? Do you buy 1 boob and get a nay-nay for free? Or like, how does that work? Okay, so Demi comes in. She comes in last. Where's my Demi? Demi comes in and she's like, I got some tulips for your 2 lips. And then they all ask Jessie, like, what's the recovery like? What do you have to go through? She's like, I can't have sex for like 4 to 6 weeks. So it's like having a baby. But my husband, Jordan, was like, well, the doctor said 4 to 6 weeks, no sex. But what does your dentist say? What a fucking disgusting pig. This woman is recovering from double surgery. And this man wants to know, can she still perform fellatio? Good night. What's your dentist say? Okay. Okay, so then they ask her, how is it feeling now that you're recovering? And she says, the first night of recovery felt like I had a blowtorch up there. This was Layla's face. Like, what? That's Layla's honest reaction to hearing that her entire innards felt like there was a blowtorch inside of them. Jen's like, processing that in bilingual. Like, oh my God. Okay, so, good Lord. But they want to know, are you going to be able to go to Vegas? Like, you planned this whole trip. Are you sure you're good to go this quick after the surgery? She's like, oh, no, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to Vegas. Everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be awesome sauce. Okay, so, again, Whit is not, going. And Jessie did show them her nene. They blurred it, but she pulled her panties down in front of these women so they could all see, get a look at her recovering nene. Okay? Holy cannolis. The doc said, and this is, I'm quoting her, that it would look more like an eggplant, but right now it looks like two hot dog buns, and that's a good thing. So, yeah. So now we have this little montage of the women talking to the men about the trip. Okay. And Demi is, of course, talking to her older husband, Brett. He's 46 and she is 29. Okay. There is an 18-year difference between these two because he's turning 47 pretty soon because he was born the year after me. Okay. So he says, this is like such a Gen X dad joke. He's like, why would you go out looking for a hamburger when you have a steak dinner at home? But he basically, I thought this was a cool scene between them because she told him straight out, like, we're probably going to do weird stuff. And he's like, I'm not worried about it. You do you. Go with your gut. Everything's cool. We're good. Right? And I was like, okay, maturity. Okay, I see you. Then, of course, Macy and her husband have a little chit chat about what's going to go on. Where's her hubby at? Here he is, Jacob. And he's like, are you good? And she's like, I just fucking can't stand these controlling husbands. Like, ugh, they gave me the ick. And, he's like, I'll come down there. I'll fucking straighten those guys out. And she's like, I got it. I'm good. So it was kind of like they had a playful banter about it. Tay-Tay does not talk to Dakota about what they're going to do because he's coming on the trip. He's coming on the trip, guys. Mostly, and one reason is legit. Tay-Tay's 18 days away from giving birth. So, like, let's say worst case scenario. Why, she goes into labor. He wants to be there. I get that. But also, like, like, he is so controlling, you guys. So manipulative. It's like, oh, you won't submit to me. And she's like, bitch, I am 9 months pregnant. Like, just fucking pet my hair and be nice and make me some food. Like, I had to explain to my kids that when you are in the 9th month, okay, when you are in that final, like, 2-week stretch of being pregnant and ready to birth that baby, there is a level of pain and discomfort that occurs that is so excruciating, okay, that you have never felt this type of pain before, because at this point in the pregnancy, the baby is almost fully grown, okay, and they're growing exponentially at this point. Your tummy is enormous, okay, and what has happened because of all this growth is inside a woman's body, those organs where the baby space is now just sort of scoot. They just scooch back, just scooch, okay, and all your organs are fucking squished. You can hardly breathe because your lungs are being squished at the bottom, okay? Your kidneys are obliterated. Your bladder is non-existent. Someone has been jazzercising on that shit for the last 2 months, okay? You can't poop right. Everything hurts. Just walking feels like all of your bones together are grinding on each other, just becoming decimated with every movement. I told my kids, like, I would go to bed on my back and then I would have to try to, like, get on one side to, like, move my whole tummy to one side. And if I did that, it felt like, when you take your Barbie and you're just like, brah, and you just do like a splits like that. It's like that, but up your whole body, just feeling like being split in half. Right. And so my ex-husband would have to, like, try and, like, roll me over like a fucking beached whale, while I'm screaming in pain. And he would feel so bad because he thought he was hurting me. And it just was, he wasn't hurting me. The act of moving was hurting me. Right. So for this man, this grown-ass man to just keep putting pressure on this woman who said, I don't want to get married right now, but if you don't marry me, then I'm out. I'm out. Like, fuck off. Like, she has one job right now, and that is to complete growing this baby that she's decided to have and give birth to it. You need to support her ass and stop being a whiny bitch baby fucking asshole. Jesus Christ on a cracker. Okay, so they're all talking. And then, of course, the worst human emerges. Jen suggests to her husband, Zach, like, hey, we're going to go have fun. You know, I don't know what we're going to do because Jessie hasn't told the girls what the plan is. She's like, it's a surprise. You'll see when we get there. But what if we went to, like, you know, a strip show? Because that's like every other block in Vegas, right? Like, what if we went to a Magic Mike concert? Zach says to his wife, okay, being divorced and raising 2 kids alone would be kind of rough, don't you think? This man, y'all, this man comes from a well-to-do family, the Afflecks. His dad and his grandpa are surgeons. He has no job. He is a professional college student. His parents gave these two a little nest egg so they could buy a house, start raising their kids, and have a little money there, okay, until Zach finished college. The amount of money that they gave them was supposed to buy the house and get them through Zach becoming a medical professional. This man gambled all of that away. So this beautiful, powerful woman fucking pumped up her social media and is now supporting the whole fucking household. And he has the fucking poncho cojones to say, well, that would really suck for you if you know, became divorced. I hope she does divorce him. He's disgusting. Okay? So then he says, right after he says that, she kind of like walks away for a minute to catch her breath. Then he says, oh, I want to show you my outfits for Vegas because he's going also. He's going also. Because he doesn't trust her. Does not trust his wife. So he pulls out this sweatshirt, guys, and he says to her, this is my lucky poker playing sweatshirt. You just zip it down when you want to be cool. It has like a little quarter zip here. And then when you're getting a good run and your vein is sticking out, you zip it up so nobody else can see your run. Hello? That's a tell, Zach. When you zip up your collar and you just literally told the entire world what your poker tell is. Idiot. What a fucking idiot. So she says, Chen says, who said you're playing poker? And this was his reaction. This grown adult man, that is the pouty little baby bitch toddler face that he made to his wife who said you're playing poker? And then he says to her, you said you were going to bankroll me so I could play. And she literally looks back at him and is like, I'm giving you $2,500. And if you blow through that, I'm going to be pissed. And he's like, well, if I do lose, I won't gamble. And she's like, ever again. And he's like, for at least 6 months. You guys. Sweet, sweet Jen. Please run. Run far, far away. This man, no thank you. Okay. So they all get to, so Jen Zach, Tay-Tay, and Dakota are going to carpool instead of flying because Tay-Tay can't fly right now because, she's 18 months. She's 18 days away from giving birth. So all the other ladies get on a flight and they head to Vegas. Okay. So now they get to this really nice Airbnb. It has a really posh pool, a pickleball court, really nice rooms. It's very nice. It's very nice. Okay. So they're all stoked on their thing and they decide Jesse puts a sign on the door that says labias only because they don't want Dakota and fucking Zach to stay there. So Tay-Tay arrives to go on the car trip. But, oh, sorry, I'm skipping a part. So now we see what's up with Whitney and Connor. What's going on with the Levitts? What are they doing? Oh, now, just out of coincidence, it has nothing to do with her just throwing away all her friendships and totally running away again like Hawaii. They want to get a farm and homestead. Something they've never done. And she's like, if these girls really cared about me, they would check in because, I'm a good person and I'm fun. Okay. So they go visit this farm that this woman is homesteading and she makes them shovel poop and shows them and tells them, it only takes like an hour and a half a day to take care of all these animals just by myself. You guys should be able to. They're like, we're in. We are in. We're going to go to the farm. Okay. So, yeah. Jen, yeah. So then, earlier, Macy teased like 3 times, I have a secret, but I don't know if I should say it. So then when they are waiting, I forgot. So Tay-Tay shows up at Jen's house to go to Vegas. Okay. But Dakota isn't with her. Tay is bawling. Jen is like, what happened? And she's like, we had another big fight. I told him to get his shit and get out of the car. And then I just came here. Taylor literally kicked this man out of the car because he was so insufferable. She was like, I can't right now. I just want to go and relax and not do this bullshit. Okay. Like, what in the fuck? So then Jen and Zach are like, let's give them a minute to talk it out. Because then Dakota shows up. And he's like, oh, sorry I'm late. Yeah, we just, some things happened. Like, what happened is fucking Taylor kicked him out of the car. That fight was so brutal. They didn't even show it on the air. And then the producer van behind them was like, bro, get in. We're gonna take you. You have to go to the trip. It's in the thing. So we're gonna drop you off at Jen's house. Okay, just pull yourself together. Pull yourself together. So they decide, guys, it's a 5-hour drive. Why don't you guys talk it out in the car? So the cameraman is sitting in the front. Okay, so he can shoot to the back 2 seats. Zach is driving. And then you have Dakota. Oh, no, sorry. Jen in the... no, that's not Jen. What am I doing? You have Jen in the way back seat, just by herself with all the shit, right? It's like folded 3/4. And then you have Tay-Tay and Dakota sitting next to each other in the middle seat. And she says, I just feel like, we just keep going in these cycles, like it's good. And then 3 days later, it's really bad. And it's just, it's, and he yells out, it's a cycle. And she's like, both the ladies are like, toxic. And then Jen's like, oh, it's not my conversation. I'll just be quiet in the back. And Taylor's like, yeah, it is. It's toxic. And he's like, well, we got to just get back to the good part. We just got to get back to the good part, right? So they all show up to the house. They read the sign, the no labias, labias only. And the dudes are like, wow, we're totally going to come back later and like climb the drains and make sure you guys aren't like, doing fun stuff. Like they're just so fucking stupid. Just so dumb. Just so dumb. Okay. So then Whitney finally is like, she's getting dressed. Tay-Tay's in the bathroom brushing her teeth. And Jess and Michaela and Demi are like, what is going on, girl? What is the deal? What's happening? What's the tea? And she's like, well, I do this thing on my TikTok called Sinner Sundays, okay, where I invite people to send in confessions, okay, like anonymous. There's like some app where you can just send in an anonymous, I stole a candy bar from 7-Eleven, right? And then she'll read it or look at it or whatever. But there's a button underneath the anonymous confession to reveal who actually sent it to you. She has not clicked that button yet. But the confession is, of course, about Dakota. About someone who Dakota knocked boots with while she was with Taylor. Okay. So the ladies are like, Demi is like, do it, tell her. And then Macy's like, bitch, she's about to give birth. I don't want her giving birth in this fucking Airbnb. I can't catch no baby. Okay. So she's not, and Taylor has said in no uncertain terms that she will 110% leave Dakota if she finds out that he was boffing some chick while they've been together, because he told her it didn't happen. So this is the confession. Okay. They never reveal who this is from in the show. Okay. It says, I accidentally slept with Dakota before I knew he and Taylor were together. I only met her once and I'm terrified to tell her, but I feel like she has a right to know. Help. I accidentally slept with someone? How do you, ladies, how do you accidentally sleep with someone? You can't, if it's a forcible thing and it was not consenting on your part, that's not an accident either. Okay, we have to start reframing this language. If you got into a sexual situation with someone and they forced that sexual situation on you, that is called rape. Okay, the big hard R. Okay, that is not something that should be danced around. If you engaged consensually in a sexual activity with another person, that is not an accident. You did that on purpose. Now, did you do it not knowing that he was with someone else? Okay, sure. Maybe he told you, she's not my girlfriend, or I'm not really in a committed relationship, whatever. But you don't accidentally take all your clothes off and thrust around on top of each other on the side, however you do it, and allow someone's peen to enter your vagine on accident. It's not a slip and fall. It's not a workers' comp case. Okay? Like, let's get it straight here. Let's be real. Like, an accident. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. Okay. So, oh no, that's for the next episode. Okay, I have to take the pictures off so I don't fuck it up. All right, so Macy doesn't tell her. She doesn't tell her. Okay, so they all get on a party bus. Okay, there's no stripper pole in this party bus. Okay, but they get on the party bus and everyone's like, where are we going? Where are we going? What's happening? What's happening? And so somebody guesses that they're going to Chippendales. And she's like, it's entertainment. It's a show. It's entertainment. Guys. I just have to look up. I'm going to look up Chippendales. Oh, there's a Chippendales Portland. There you go. But, it's a show. It is a show. It's listed as a show in Las Vegas, okay, that you can go to. Okay? But, like, let's what kind of show are we going to? It's a show with very fit men. Oh, guys, we can get a 50% discount right now. These guys are very fit, handsome, chiseled abs. Got that thing where you got the V thing. Okay, they got that going on. Right? And, you're going to watch them gyrate and put some money in their little teeny tiny undies that are under here. Like, you know, let's be real. Okay, Abdazzle, just because you brought that up, we're going to pull that up because that is one of the singular greatest skits from SNL of all time. And it's with Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze, by the way. It's not just Chris Farley. We're going to watch this. I'll have to cut. This is Patrick Swayze during like Roadhouse, guys, where he is, he is fan-fucking-tastic. Look how beautiful he was then. R.I.P. to Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley. Both of these gentlemen are no longer with us. But this is one of the greatest sketches of all time because Patrick Swayze is in the fucking shape of his life, guys. This is like in between Ghost and Roadhouse that he hosted. As if Chippendales is like this world-renowned, legit, you know, entertainment company. But I mean, it's been around forever. All right, but look at the cake here. And we've just got some pancakes here. But I love Chris Farley. I like all kinds of cakes. Farley, I miss that man. He's just so fucking great. Just a comedy genius. But this is the real Chippendales. These are the men that will be gyrating for them. Okay. So, you know, Jen is so upset during this, okay? Poor little baby Jen. Little baby. Now, she and Layla are the youngest. Jen is 24, okay? She's already had 2 kids. Layla's 22 and had 2 kids. Both of these women were trying to play the good Mormon wife, good Mormon girl part, okay? By, you know, faithfully marrying their husbands and giving them babies right away and all this kind of bullshit. Okay. So Layla and the girls get invited to the VIP section, which means they get to go meet the Chippendales backstage before the show. You see how shiny they are? You see how just shiny their chests are? It's just shiny. So because Layla's the only single one, they're like, Layla, why don't you help the men get ready for their show? And so they hand her this huge bottle of body oil. And she is just rubbing those men's chests, all of them, to oil them up. Jen is over here like, oh my God, I'm just going to look at the ground because I cannot even watch. Like, she was so upset. And I want to say, like, I had a ton of empathy for Jen in this moment because in case you guys aren't new or you are new, I went through a very extremely long period in my life where sex was very shameful. It carried nothing but shame with it for me. In the Mormon church, this is how that goes. You are shamed about it constantly. There's a scene in the show where Jen is like trying to explain how her and Zach are having these problems and he's not helping out. She's literally holding a baby, walking over to serve him ice cream. And she's like, I could really use some help. And he's like, yeah. And then he looks up at her and he sees that her V-neck is a little, you know, her boobies were there. They weren't going to fall out or anything. And instead of taking the toddler from her to give her some relief, which is what she asked for, this caveman reaches up and adjusts her sweater, to which Jen has to then hold the toddler still and be like, oh, sorry. Okay. This is the house she lives in. I am sure that this disgusting caveman wants her to do all kinds of stuff in the bedroom that she's probably not comfortable with and probably doesn't get any satisfaction out of. Look at this guy. Okay. And then is shamed about her body constantly. So she's super uncomfy in this situation, but you know, it's Layla's birthday. She's getting the VIP treatment. She is single, you know, so she's having the time of her life. All the other girls are like, fine. So they go back to this lounge where there's no dancers in this lounge. It's like literally like eat your food before you go to the show kind of situation. Like, let's not mix food and oily bodies. Okay. So they're all eating and Jen is like, oh. So she feels, oh, they were all supposed to take a photo with the Chippendales, the guys, before they went on stage, right? Jen's like, I just don't feel like this is good for our brand. I don't know what it says. I feel like it's very disrespectful. And she does this whole montage about how it's disrespectful to her marriage, to her religion, to herself. Like, these are not her words. This is not the ideas that are popping into her head, but she's saying the right things for her parents, for his parents, for him when they watch this back. Okay. So, Michaela comes in because now we haven't seen Michaela for a hot ass minute. She's not eating. She's not doing anything. And she comes sauntering into the lounge and everybody's like, where have you been? She's like talking to Jace, her husband, this virile man. Okay. And they're like, what's the deal? And she's like, he's upset. This man is upset that she's going to go see Chippendales. So now she's all awkward. Jesse wants to do this really fun TikTok about what Vegas is about, right? Like, no drama, no boyfriends, food. It was funny. It was a funny TikTok, right? And Jen is like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that TikTok. I can't. I'll be murdered. And they're like, okay, don't do the TikTok. And then she says, yeah, she literally said that taking the photos with the dancers, guys, was breaking her marriage vows. Like, wow. This is how deep she's in. This is how controlled she is. So then she's just, after she's done freaking out, she finally calls Zach. Zach, who's in Vegas with her, who's probably down the street at a casino gambling. Okay. And she starts bawling. She says, it's just a show. It's a joke. It's not a big deal. You know, Macy went to this with her mother, right? Macy and her mom years ago went to this together as a joke, right? And she's like, please consider me. Please consider me and my character. Please don't say things like that. And she's just like literally bawling. And they're all like, what happened? And Zach told her, I don't want to be married to you if these are the things you're going to do. She hasn't even done it yet, Zach. She hasn't even seen any stripping. There's been no naked men. This is what he tells his wife while he is gambling her bankroll that she gave him. His little bit fucking gambling allowance because he can't get a job and make money. But he's going to tell her, I'm going to take the kids and I'm going to fucking, my stuff will be out of there on Monday. Good luck, Chuck. I'm going to go take the kids and move in with my mom. And that was the end of that episode, guys. And we still didn't see no stripping. The stripping has been teased for 3 episodes now. These women are on an emotional fucking roller coaster from hell put on by their husbands who are mostly idiots. Like, I was shook after this episode. Now, Jen and I did watch the next episode immediately. We're going to go over that in the next installment. But first, I want to get to your comments and questions here, guys. Let's do it. Aubrey says, been to a church for my town's ward. Interesting. Ooh, I'd love to know how that went. Galen in the house says, if this wasn't true, what they think it would be is so idiotic. Yeah. Family search. Yes, you can do a family search via the Mormon church. Yep. They baptized the tiny mustache man from Austria from 1945. Why are they trying to save him? What in the actual fuck? Family search is what they used, and I also got into a fight with their genealogist because of all the family names. Yeah, I'm sure you did. They hate everyone on their site. Oh, they have everyone. Yes, the Mormons. Yes, they do. You are forever having spirit children in Mormon heaven. Do you have to go through the whole pregnancy though? Is there like spirit pregnancy for 9 months? Because that's awful. No, thank you. If we did what Joseph Smith did, we'd all be in jail. Yes, we would. Yes, we would. I'm going to make that a little smaller. There we go. There is no autonomy no matter how much you push. Yep. That's what I'm trying to, I mean, I'm seeing that just from what I'm watching, Galen, but you went through that. I mean, that's fucking awful. I'm sorry. I'm glad you survived that. You know, you're here to tell the tale. Joseph Smith was a con man. He scammed people by telling them he could find treasure on their property with the sticks, with the divining sticks, probably. The hair wash thing. I started going to Paul Mitchell school. It's $5 for a wash and dry. I don't wash my own. Okay, but that's at Paul Mitchell, honey. Most like expensive salons, it's definitely more. But I went, if it was only $5, I might go do that too. I love having somebody else wash my hair. I'm not gonna lie. That is a treat when you go get a haircut and they do that like massagey thing on your head. Oh, that is, yeah. I love that. I do love that. Oh, nay. It's a nice word. Yes, I try to keep it good here. I'm gonna have to edit out that whole SNL thing after post here. Their boundaries seem to be made in a blender. Yes, Cricket Cinema. Very accurate. Very accurate. Very good description, Nora. I was an elephant at the end of my pregnancies. Yes! It's just fucking so hard, Selma. So hard. Judy Chang. No disrespect to others, but I must confess that Nora is my favorite. Oh, Judy, thank you. Thank you for that. She wants that loser to pull her through the curtain to get to heaven and spend eternity with him. Yeah. I know, Jen, you deserve so much more. Come on. I love that you remember all this, Nora. I prefer to listen to this than watch the show. This is more entertaining. I'm glad. I still didn't pick up on your comment, Merrily. There's a dancer named Richard Richardson. There you go. That is a good one. Dick Dickerson. Awesome. This live is just what I needed today. Thank you. You're very welcome, Selma. You're very welcome. Oh my God, Mike Myers is so young. I know. They were all so young. Brainwashed. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Thank you for validating so much. My shelf broke in 2020 and I'm almost 60. Big chunks of Mormon are still falling out of my brain. Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that. You're 4 years in recovery and you've got to, you got to give yourself grace. You got to give yourself, guys. So I want to finish these comments. I'm going to show you guys something. Not interested in the show a bit. All in for your commentary. Thank you, Sparkno. Ex-witness Vernon's in the house. I'm a hot dog member. I'm so glad for you to be a member, Vernon. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm rewatching the series. The more I rewatch, the more I hate Zach, despise Dakota, and can't stomach Whitney. Yes, guys. No, thank you to this vapid woman. My God. Do they still exist? I don't know if what we're asking about. Mormons? Yes. I'm not sure. Vernon. I don't know what that question's about. So today, guys, before I came to give you all of the tea here about the Mormon situation, I'm doing my trauma therapy. Tuesdays is Trauma Tuesdays, and it's a group therapy. I'm redoing it. As we would say in Scientology, I'm retreading it. But I'm redoing this group therapy because when I did it at the beginning of the year, I was hanging on by a thread, guys. I'm going to be honest. I'll be 100% with you right now. And I got out of this class, I got a fraction of the information, but it would still save my life. It absolutely saved my life in no uncertain terms, the information that I was able to glean from this. So I decided now that I'm doing much better, that I have been through intensive therapy, that I have, been successfully on an antidepressant, that I have done the stellate ganglion block shots, and I'm feeling, oh yeah, Chippendale still exists. Yes, very much. It's still here. And my nervous system isn't on fire 24/7. and I'm able to do these things and digest them and then appropriately rest and stop when I need to stop and things like that. Today's lesson that we did, guys, was it touched, it really made me think about these women and what's going on. This is lesson 7, healthy relationships with self and others. Okay. And the lesson is just these 3 graphic pages, which we went over in detail, which I will show you guys now. This is the first graphic. You guys can do a screenshot and look at it. So this is from echotraining.org. So you can find it there. Oh, I just made my lighting really dark. Let me see if I can find it on the web so I can show you guys. But these points were so key for me. Let's see if we can find it here, if it'll pull up. But it really hit home for me, the impacts of trauma, and it parallels my own life. And of course, this, window into this, whatever version of Mormonism this is, right? So the first thing is that the first impact that like stands out for you here is, loss of safety. Okay. And let's see if I can pull up this infographic that I have right here. Here we go. That's not all of them. Oh, English infographics. Yes. I want to see the English ones. Let's see the ones in English because that's all I speak. So the first thing in there is the loss of safety. The world becomes a place where anything can happen, right? That's one. Here we go. Let's pull this up and then you guys can see it. Okay. So loss of safety. World becomes a place where anything can happen. Loss of danger cues. How do you know what is dangerous when someone you trust hurts you and then this is your new normal? When we look at what's happening with Jen and Zach, it's absolutely that. And samesies with Dakota and, Tay-Tay, right? Absolutely. Because they are in this cyclic normal that is toxic and harmful. That happened to me in Scientology. That has happened to me in the real world with friends. When you have somebody who continually does something to you that hurts and then is like, oh, that's just how that goes. And you warp yourself, you twist yourself into thinking that is normal activity. You don't even know when bad things are happening, right? Loss of trust. This is especially true if the abuser is a family member or a close family friend. Okay. Shame. Huge and overwhelming, debilitating shame. As a child, even getting an exercise wrong at school, like I felt like they wrote this one for me, can trigger the shame. The child may grow into an adult who cannot bear to be in the wrong because it's such a trigger. There's so much perfectionism in Scientology. That is like all you're going for. It's the same in the Mormon church for the women especially, right? Loss of intimacy for survivors of sexual abuse and sexual relationships can either become something to avoid or are entered into for approval. Okay. Now, every single one of these women, minus Jen and Whitney, because she's not there anymore, have told Jen and Tay-Tay, we survived toxic abuse. We got out. Macy had a former boyfriend who abused her. She's not with him. It took everything in her body to leave him. Demi had an abusive ex-spouse who she left and is now married to Brett. Jesse's ex-husband was abusive and she left him. Michaela just has Jace. They've been together since they were 16. Okay. Layla just got divorced from her toxic ex. Tay-Tay had a toxic ex. And they are begging Jen to please wise up, honey. Please wise up. We have already seen how this episode plays out. We've already seen it. Stop it. Stop the tape now. before it gets worse, right? Then you have disassociation, okay? Often to cope with what is happening to the body during the abuse, the child will disassociate, disconnect the consciousness from what is happening. Later, this becomes a coping strategy that is used whenever a survivor feels overwhelmed. This can happen in adult trauma, childhood trauma, etc. Okay? Loss of connection, physical connection to the body. Survivors of sexual and physical abuse often have a hard time being in their body. This disconnection comes from the body. Disconnection from the body makes some therapies known to aid trauma recovery, such as yoga, harder for these survivors, right? Because you can't even be comfortable in here, right? Loss of sense of self. One of the roles of the primary caregiver is to help us discover our identity by reflecting who we are back at us. If the abuser was a parent or a caregiver, then that sense of self is not well developed and can leave us feeling phony or fake. This is like the story of every woman's life, right? That is how most of us feel most of the time. Loss of self-worth. Trauma survivors can swing between feeling special with grandiose beliefs about themselves and feeling dirty and bad. This self-aggrandizement is an elaborate defense against the unbearable feeling of being an outcast and unworthy of love, right? Reenactment. Recreating the childhood dynamic, expecting the same result, but hoping for a different one. This strategy is doomed to failure because the need is in the past and cannot be resolved. Also, you will interpret anything as confirmation that you have been betrayed once more. Okay? Like, these concepts were completely foreign to me. Even reading them again right now, I'm realizing some other stuff that I didn't realize in my group therapy today. Because that's how powerful knowing what the impacts of trauma are. So here's these Mormon women, which, let's face it, guys, the Mormon religion, the more I find out about it, the more I hear from these ladies, is just all trauma on women. It's literally a way for men to traumatize and harm women and just be like, well, that's just the boat we're in, honey. That's just it, right? And there are ways to grow out of that. There are ways to, understand and help somebody, but what they're doing right now, that ain't it. This is not it. So the next episode, which is the second to last episode, we'll be doing later in the week. Okay. I'm going to send you to the page. Crystal, I will send you to that page right now. I'm going to send you to the website. Okay. So you can see all of their infographics, but this is impactful stuff. It is very important. I always want to share with you guys any resources that I get, as a trauma survivor. Okay. Because, I'm making jokes. I got these guys on popsicle sticks and things like this, but this is a reality, drama show that is showing in real time the group dynamic effects of narcissistic personalities, okay, on an entire group. And, oh, honey, Crystal, just a word of advice. You are not married to that therapist. Get another therapist. I had a therapist who didn't understand trauma either. Find a different one. Whoever your healthcare provider can hook you up with, that is look for in the description of the person, trauma informed. If you don't see that anywhere in their bio, skip it and find another therapist. Do not stay with that person. You are not going to change them. You are not going to make them a better therapist. Like, that's up to them to go do the updated training. Okay. You are very welcome, my friend. You're very welcome. But that to me is my passion, is not just spewing out all of the hurtful stuff that happens inside of me. Because yes, I protested yesterday. That was super fun because I was doing it with Liz. But like, at the end of it, we were starving and we were both like fucking spent, because that takes a lot out of us. It physically drains us. It mentally drains us. It is harmful in part to our sanity to be around that environment for an extended period of time. Why do we do it then? Because it's important to stand there and bring awareness even for an hour and tell the people walking by while we're there and talk to the people going in and out and say, you don't have to be there. Right? I don't know if they're actually listening or if they're just thinking I'm a big fat SP bitch, you know, and that's fine. But it's important still, you know, I have to find that balance between doing the things that are fun and exposing this cult and other cults like Mormonism, and keeping my own, you know, self sane, because there's no point in doing anything, guys. Okay. If you're not getting better from having done it. Okay. So that's just my little piece of advice. I'll share more from this lesson at the end of the next episode, because my trauma group has been amazing. I highly recommend therapy, guys. There's so many different I'm doing group therapy, but I also do individual therapy. If those avenues are available to you through your health insurance, please take them up. Please try to you know, work that out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. I hope you get out and enjoy this beautiful day, and I will see you all on the Flippity Dippity. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, as always, to all my mods and all my members. And guys, click that link. Scan it, click it, love it. Send me boxes of money. I need it. I'll see you guys on the Flippity Dippity.